Okay, class. So last week we worked on converting fractions, decimals, and percents. Today we're going to be looking at percent of change, and that is exactly what it means. It's by what percentage did your number change by? So if we're looking here at a percent of change, is the percent that a quantity changes from the original amount. So if we have percent of change, that is the amount of change divided by the original amount. Sometimes a percent of change could be a percent of increase. If it increases, you have a number getting larger and you want to know by how much of an amount that is as a percentage. You would use this formula. You have your new amount minus your original amount. You can also think of this as always being your maximum number minus your minimum number over the original amount, and the original amount will always be in the denominator. So you'll notice that in the percent of change, percent of increase, it'll be here in percent of decrease, percent of error, if you're looking at comparing your estimate to the amount. So the original amount or the actual amount will always be in the denominator, and your numerator will always be your maximum minus your minimum. You're basically taking the difference between your numbers and then dividing by the original amount or the expected amount. So let's take a look at a few examples here under practice. We have identify the percent of change as an increase or a decrease, then identify and find the percent of change. So if we didn't have this word in here, they already kind of gave it to us. If we had 15 meters changes to 36, well, you know that that's going up, so that will be an increase. Looking at our next example, we also have 20 songs to 70 songs. That is also going up, so that is an increase. Okay, and then our last example here, we have 90 people to 45 people. Well, that is going down. Our numbers are going down, so that would be a decrease. So we are going to actually calculate the percent of change here from 15 to 36. What is that increase as a percentage? So we're going to do our maximum number minus our minimum number. So 36 minus 15 is 21. And we're going to use our starting number in our denominator, or the original amount. In this case, that's 15. Okay, and then once we have our fraction, we can divide, numerator divided by denominator, and we get 1.4. That is our decimal. And as a percent, that is, remember, 0.4 is 4/10, so it's going to be 40 hundredths. So that is 140% increase for that first example. And then you can see that that makes sense because 100% of 15 would be a 15 meter increase. 15 and 15 would be 30, and then plus 6 more. So 140% makes sense. All right, in our next example, we have 20 songs to 70 songs, and we know it's an increase. Take a moment to pause the video and see if you can get your numerator and denominator numbers for a moment. Okay, hopefully you turned it back on right now. If you did your numerator correctly, 70 minus 20 is 50 over the original amount of 20, which we know that is 5 halves. So that's going to give us 2.5, and your percentage there is 250% increase. The last one is a decrease problem. We have 90 people to 45 people. So we're going to have our denominator of 90 because that's our starting number. When we do 90 minus 45, that's 45, which works out to be 0.5, and that is 50% decrease. Okay, so if you want to circle your answers, because that's what we're used to doing, we have 140%, 250%, and then a 50%. Okay, looking at another example here, it says, yesterday it took 40 minutes to drive to school. Today it took 32 minutes to drive to school. What is your percent of change? So you can see that it's the original amount minus the new amount, or maximum minus minimum, over the starting 40 minutes. Simplified fraction works out to be 0.2, which is 20%. Remember, percents are 2 decimal places because we're going out to hundredths. Percent means out of 100. And then your answer. In this section here, it's not very clear. It just has a 6% on there. And they want us to create a word problem. I'm going to give you one for now, for today, so that you have it in your notes. So let's just say you estimate that a box contains 141 envelopes. The actual number is 150. Find the percent of error. Okay, so if you did work that out and we subtracted, we would have 9 over 150, which is equal to 0.06, which would then give us our 6%.